This is Tales from the Cube, a podcast about call centers, what it's like to work in them, the good, the bad, the ugly, the funny and not so funny side of what it's like working in a call center. Thanks for dropping in to this edition of Tales from the Cube, episode 24001. My name is Cliff, and today I will share some of the weird questions that might be asked and have been asked on calls. Oh yes, we do get them. We often say that there's no stupid or weird question, but there are stupid and weird questions, okay? Let's get that straight. That these questions do get asked, yeah. Let's be honest about this before going further. Most are very funny, and some are extremely dark and off-putting. In another episode, I will tackle the darker ones, but let's have some fun hearing about questions that are going to make you go, what? Yes, you will say, what? What? Somebody actually asked this? Yes, these are questions that are real. They really did get asked by people. Now, I've dealt with this topic before in another episode in the last season. So there is another episode that covers this, some of the weird questions I got and some of the things I've heard about. But here are some really weird questions. Let's start with number one. Where are the vegan apples? Yeah, let me reiterate that one again, okay? Where are the vegan apples? Oh my. This was a question a grocery clerk got, but it could be one that a food company may get on their customer service line. As in, do you sell vegan apples? Ladies and gents, a little bit of an FYI here. There are no vegan apples. Okay, there's no such thing as a vegan apple. This one is something that has happened to me as far as questions go that are weird. A pizza shop clerk was asked how much the $5 pizzas cost. What? My head just spun when I saw this question. But yeah, believe it or not, this is a thing that's happened. So as I put it, my head spins at this question. Duh, hello, $5. Yes, this is also and could be a question that gets asked on a customer service line at a pizza company like Pizza Hut or Pizza 73. I worked in a call center for one in the Edmonton area is where I sat and did my work. They were 73 actually, Pizza 73. And yes, I did get asked the questions like that. So that did happen, and it was like, what? So they're your $20 pizzas, they're $20, right? Yeah, yes, that's right. And they include this, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yes, that's true. It really did get asked. So you kind of just go, okay. The third point here, this is the third one in this little list here. Somebody called their carrier regarding internet usage. The question asked was, at what time does the internet shut off? Well, it is possible that the internet is shut off in certain places in the world, okay? In general, though, that does not happen in most areas. In some parts of the world, they do that, particularly during a crisis situation. They will shut down the connections and whatnot, but the internet overall really doesn't get shut down. Just like the question that gets asked is, where does the internet end? What? Where does the internet end? Well, it doesn't end. It just keeps going. It just keeps getting bigger, and more sites get added on, more content gets added on. It's just really, in all honesty, I can tell you it's not going to be something that just goes to a point where it stops. Can you find every single website on the internet? Absolutely no. There's millions of them. So yeah, there you go. So that was a question a carrier got. Now, number 4 here in this list on this particular topic. This one is just funny. A client asked a technical support advisor, if I install Windows 32-bit twice, will it become 64-bit? So here's your answer. No. No. 64 versus 32-bit is definitely not a thing as far as making a multiple of. Okay, so if you took two 64 bits, it wouldn't make 128 encryption. It's one or the other. So no, you cannot do that. It's not possible to take two 32-bit connections and make them one into a 64-bit is what you're not going to be able to do. So there you go. Those are some of the more odd kinds of questions that you're going to face in the field. Customers ask dozens of more odd questions on calls made to companies, big and small, in call centers. We field them all. Okay, we do. We field these all, and it's just like, wow. And it just goes on. I mean, I've been in the business 20 plus years, and I still get odd questions. I still get things that people ask me to do, particularly with regard to products. They'll ask me to have the product do something that it's just not made to do. I got one yesterday where a customer wanted to convert a particular type of video from one to another in a particular program. I won't say which program it is because it will allude to the company I work on behalf of. But the answer to that was, no, you actually can't do that. You actually have to, if it's a purchased item, you have to call on us through a different department and ask if they can swap out one for another type, but you might have to pay a little bit more money to do that swap. Or so I did actually get to the department. I said, well, I'm going to transfer you through, and they'll look at this with you and see if they can get you a copy of that version, whether it's HD, 4K, whatever you want. We'll see if we can manage that, but you might have to pay for it extra, or you might have to have two copies. We don't know, but that's not my department, for one thing, and secondly, you can't actually take that film and do that because even though you own it, actually technically you don't. You don't own the copyright. Somebody else does. So in this particular case, no, you can't convert something that somebody else made into that format using our programs. The other thing too we might get is a question about, let's see here, I would think that somebody might say, well, can you make a formula calculate this way? Well, the program's not designed to do that, so it's not gonna work. Or you might get a question like, I'm wondering, I see that your store is open from 9 to 5. Can I come in at 5:30? The store's open 9 to 5. 5:30, we're closed. So you're going to get these kinds of questions. Or you might get somebody calling you up and asking a silly question like, do you sell a product that's not in your line? Or do you have something on your shelf that you would never sell? Like, I don't know, we'll say, besides the vegan apples, hey, do you have in your store that sells cameras, do you have... let's see here. Do you have apples? Do you sell apples at your store? When your camera shop, you get where I'm going. These are questions that are like going to wrap the noodle a little bit and go. You're just going to go, wow, no. So at the end of the day, here you want to make sure that you do some things basically to deal with this, because as I stated, you're going to field a lot of these very unusual kinds of questions, and we want a good smooth transition, and particularly if we're dealing with big companies using our services in the call center to answer professionally. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips here. The first one, of course, number one, is be professional. Answer in a sincere tone is the second point. Yeah, you actually want to be sincere. Honestly, try and answer the question. So if somebody were to call me up and say, well, I noticed that your stores are open from 9 to 8, but could I come in at 8:30? I wouldn't say, duh, no. I would simply say, look, I appreciate the question. Thank you very much for asking it. At this juncture and point in time, our stores are closed at 8 p.m. So I am afraid to have to advise you that you cannot go in at 8:30. But if you'd like, I can schedule an appointment at a more convenient time for you. So I would take a more professional tact and tone and say, oh, well, thank you for the question. Here's the answer. Do you want me to do something else here? Here's what we can do. Explain your answer if needed. Repeat if you have to. So sometimes the customer will still want something. I often as a senior advisor will get, somebody will say to me, I want your manager. And I will say to them, well, just so you know, I don't escalate to my manager. And the reason I don't escalate to them is they're not trained to do calls anymore. Once they become a manager, they're no longer receiving that training, and therefore they don't take calls. So it's a legitimate question. It's not an odd question. It's not a funny question, but it's a legitimate question. Well, I want your manager. I'm afraid you're not going to be able to speak with them because they don't take my calls. I'm their voice. I'm empowered to act on their behalf. I have this empowerment to look at your situation, to do what I need to do to help you out, and I'm not escalating this any further. That's what I tell them. And they'll get all bent out and say, well, somebody is your boss. Yes, somebody is. And I answer in a professional way. I'm not trying to say to them or go, duh, I told you. This is the answer. No. Professional, proper tone. Hey, sir, madam, I'm empowered. It's not getting escalated. If you want to speak with somebody else, you call us back. That's the rule. But I still want to help you. Still want to, give you guidance here and help you through this. But there's no other person you're going to be speaking with at this point in time. So those kinds of questions, although they're not funny, they do come through. You're going to field these kinds of questions. Can I speak to somebody so-and-so, this person, that person? And they'll be persistent. Or they'll want to speak to a person that's non-existent, like does Donald Duck work there? Yeah, believe it or not, you might get a question like that. Well, no, it doesn't. So that's the thing. Don't laugh, mock, or make a customer feel inadequate. Sometimes you can tell that it's, a joke. Customers pulling your leg, and get a good laugh with them. But treat the call professionally if you don't know or cannot tell it's a joke. Okay? If they're being serious, take it serious. If they're just goofing around with you, okay, you can say, all right. Some people believe many wild things, and we have to handle the questions they ask that are off the wall. Answer them just as you would with standard questions, and you should be able to move the call along. And yes, for those interested, we shake our heads and ask, are you kidding? When we get that, a question that's really out there, we will ask that in our mind. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? When we get those questions like the ones mentioned above and the ones I've, gone through today, we do it. We say, are you kidding me? And we will talk about it a little bit with our colleagues. We have a little bit of fun with it. But we also want you as the customer to know we're still going to answer the question. We're still going to do that. But yeah, sometimes it's just that's off the wall. So at the end of the day, if you're going to be working in the call center industry, be prepared for the unusual, the unhinged questions that are going to come your way. And when I say unhinged, it's like, why would you ask that kind of question? From A to Z, you're gonna hear it all. So you want to be ready for it. You want to be open-minded enough to deal with it, and I think you'll be fine with your response if you take some of these things into consideration. Being professional, using a tone that's sincere, explaining your answer, repeating it if you have to, and basically doing what you can to take control of that call, move them along, and get them cleared off the line. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you very much for taking a few moments with me today to listen, and I hope that you have a really good rest of your day. If you're working in the call center industry and you've heard some really wacky things, let us know. You're welcome to send email to me at foureyesfreelancing@gmail.com. I'd love to hear some of your stories. Or look around on the internet. You'll find some pretty funny things as well. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks again for listening to Tales from the Cube. My name is Cliff. Take care of yourselves, okay? Thanks for listening to Tales from the Cube. My name is Cliff Tour. You can hear us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Audible. Thanks again for listening. We appreciate it. We'll see you in the next episode of Tales from the Cube.